Hi friends, it's Natasha from Can We Make It Mum? In this video, I'm showing 2 super cute festive ways to sew my freestyle pattern. You can download your copy. The link is in the description below. My first version is with velvet. It's soft one way and rough the other. Velvet does get very fluffy while cutting. I found some sparkly ribbon, which I think just has a very Christmassy feel with the green velvet. I just eyeballed it, ended up being about 7.5 inches, which is about 19 centimeters. I just sewed it up exactly like I did in my star tutorial video. Please check that out. It really just breaks down the step-by-step of the sewing. I took a little extra care sewing the loop corner so I don't catch it more than I have to. Then I snipped all my corners. My pattern has the cutting instructions. It's worth taking the time to cut it precisely and carefully. It does lie a lot flatter. Velvet has a tendency to roll at the seams, so I don't trim where the opening is, so there's as much seam allowance as possible. Then it comes time to flip it inside out. I put my thumb into the point, and then I fold the seam edges against the pad of my thumb and use my finger to push it through. Then I've used a bamboo point turner to push out the corners even more. I always pull the fluff apart. When you use stuffing, it fills your project a lot smoother and evenly, and I'm poking in my cheeky little offcuts. I start stitching on the inside of the star because I find it's easier to finish up the pointy end, and I'm using here ladder stitch. Basically stitch right on the seam allowance line, go in for a couple of millimeters, then you go straight across to the other seam and go in a couple of millimeters, then straight back across another couple of millimeters, so your stitches look like a ladder going across. Then when you pull them tight, it's so invisible. It's the ladder stitch. You're gonna love it. And once you tie it off, your star's finished. I love working with velvet. It's just gorgeous. The sparkly ribbon just adds a little bit of Christmas magic. Yay! Another way I've made my star pattern is a cute gingerbread star. It's using this gorgeous linen and some white rickrack to resemble the icing. One thing I want to point out is marking the top of your stars with a pin, so you know it's going to perfectly match back together once you put your rickrack on one side. The trickiest part is bending the rickrack to go the way you want, so just bend it into shape and use as many pins as you have to. And remember, it's a 6mm or 1/4 inch seam allowance, so you want to leave yourself enough room from the edge that you can still sew your star together. Just play around and get the spacing exactly where you want it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm a big believer that homemade projects are allowed to look homemade. I think the rickrack looks so cute. I had so much fun making this star. Don't be afraid to reposition things if they're not lining up. I feel like I'm always saying it's worth taking the time to do things, and I really believe it. It's such a quick project anyway. You'll be so happy that before you stitch things down, it's exactly where you want it. I rounded off the ends of the rickrack and then just stitched sideways across it. You don't really have to overlap it very much at all. It actually looks a lot nicer the less you overlap. Once your rickrack is on, you can put your right sides together and sew your star up. Surprise, surprise, I'm going to tell you to take your time while stitching the rickrack down. I did a little zigzag, turning it back and forth. Always remember to have your needle down while you spin and turn. I use it all to get super close to the needle. The last thing you want to do is stitch our fingers. I think it's so much better if you trim the long threads before you get to them. Having your rickrack stitching showing makes it super easy to know that you're not sewing over it, you've left enough room. I didn't film the flipping or stuffing of this star. I figured you know exactly what you're doing there. I like to use embroidery floss for sewing up my projects. As you can see, I've got quite a collection of colors, so I can usually find almost a perfect match, which is so satisfying for me. I'm closing it up with a ladder stitch. I think it's my favorite one so far. Let me know in the comments which style you love the most. The support means so much to me. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Happy making and happy holidays. Thank you for watching.